Superman. Superman is fiction's purest representation of heroism, because despite having the power to rule the world, he chooses to serve it instead. Kal-El was born on the dying planet Krypton. Moments before its destruction, his parents placed him in a small spacecraft and sent him to Earth, hoping he would have a better life. He landed in Kansas and was raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent, two ordinary people who taught him something more important than strength: kindness. As he grew older, Clark discovered he could outrun trains, lift mountains, and hear cries for help from across the planet. He could have become a god among men. Nobody could stop him if he wanted power. But that's exactly why Superman matters, because every day he chooses not to abuse that power. He saves people who will never know his name. He protects a world that sometimes fears him. He believes everyone deserves a second chance, even his enemies. And even when tragedy strikes, he never lets hatred define him. Superman's greatest power isn't his heat vision or his strength. It's his compassion. He represents the idea that being a hero isn't about being the strongest person alive. It's about being the kindest one. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is fiction's greatest representation of responsibility. Peter Parker starts as an awkward teenager living in Queens with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. He's smart but poor, bullied at school, and ignored by almost everyone around him. Everything changes when he's bitten by a radioactive spider. Suddenly, Peter becomes stronger, faster, and more agile than any human alive. But instead of becoming a hero immediately, he uses his powers for fame and money. Then one night, he lets a thief escape because stopping him isn't his problem. That same criminal later kills Uncle Ben. And in that moment, Peter learns a lesson that defines the rest of his life. With great power comes great responsibility. From then on, being Spider-Man isn't a hobby, it's a burden. Peter loses jobs because he's busy saving strangers. He struggles to pay rent. The people he loves are constantly in danger. He loses Gwen Stacy, he loses friends. Sometimes the city even hates him. Yet every time he gets knocked down, he gets back up. Not because he wants to, because he believes it's his responsibility. Spider-Man is a hero because he keeps choosing others over himself, even when it ruins his life. Mumen Rider. Mumen Rider is the best representation of courage. In a world filled with monsters capable of destroying cities and heroes who can shatter mountains, Mumen Rider is just a normal guy on a bicycle. He has no super strength, no secret powers, no special bloodline. But what he does have is a heroic heart. During the attack of the Sea King, nearly every hero is defeated. Civilians are terrified. Even powerful fighters fall one after another. And then Mumen Rider arrives. He knows he can't win. He knows he's weaker than the monster standing in front of him. But he fights anyway, because being a hero isn't about winning. It's about standing up when nobody else can. He charges the Sea King with nothing but his bicycle and his fists, getting beaten nearly to death in the process. And despite the pain, despite knowing it's hopeless, he refuses to run away. Because heroes don't abandon people. Mumen Rider proves that heroism isn't measured by power. It's measured by courage. Captain America. Captain America is fiction's greatest representation of moral conviction. Before he became Captain America, Steve Rogers was a skinny kid from Brooklyn. He wasn't strong, he wasn't fast, but he hated bullies. No matter how many times he got beaten up, Steve always stood back up. When asked why he kept fighting people bigger than him, his answer was simple: I can do this all day. After receiving the Super Soldier Serum, Steve becomes stronger than any normal human. But the serum didn't make him a hero. It only amplified who he already was. Captain America fights not because he loves war, but because he hates oppression. He stands against Nazis, corrupt governments, and even his own allies when he believes they're wrong. There are times when the entire world disagrees with him, and he still refuses to compromise his principles. Because Steve doesn't follow crowds. He follows his conscience. Captain America reminds us that heroism isn't following orders. It's standing for what's right even when you're standing alone. All Might. All Might is the embodiment of hope. Born without overwhelming talent, Toshinori Yagi inherits One for All, a power passed down to fight evil. He trains relentlessly and eventually becomes the greatest hero in the world. People don't just admire All Might, they feel safe because he exists. Whenever disaster strikes, he arrives with a smile. Not because he's fearless, but because heroes don't spread fear, they erase it. The truth is, All Might's body is falling apart. Every battle pushes him closer to death. Yet he hides his pain behind a smile because he knows society depends on his example. His final battle against All for One is the perfect representation of who he is. His power is almost gone. His body is broken. But millions of people are watching, and so he fights anyway. Not as the strongest man alive, but as the symbol of peace. All Might teaches that heroes aren't people who never fall. They're people who inspire others to stand. Ben 10. Ben Tennyson is fiction's representation of selfless growth. Ben starts as an ordinary 10-year-old kid who accidentally discovers the Omnitrix, a device capable of transforming him into powerful alien species. At first, Ben acts exactly how you'd expect a kid to act. He jokes around, shows off, uses his powers recklessly, but over time, he changes. Every battle teaches him that being a hero isn't about having the coolest powers. It's about protecting people. Ben faces alien conquerors, universe-ending threats, and enemies far stronger than himself. Yet, he never stops helping others, even when given the chance to become a ruler. Even when entire universes are at stake, Ben always chooses to save lives first. The Omnitrix gives him incredible abilities, but it doesn't make him a hero. His choices do, because no matter how powerful he becomes, Ben never forgets why he fights: to help people who can't help themselves. Goku. Goku is fiction's greatest representation of self-improvement. Born as a Saiyan sent to Earth, Goku was originally meant to conquer planets. Instead, he becomes Earth's greatest protector. What makes Goku special isn't that he always wins. It's that he never stops trying to become better. Every enemy is an opportunity to grow. Every defeat is motivation. From fighting the Red Ribbon Army to facing Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, and Gods of Destruction, Goku repeatedly risks his life to protect others. But he never fights out of hatred. He fights because he loves testing his limits, and because he believes anyone can change. He spares enemies, he gives second chances. Sometimes those decisions backfire, but Goku refuses to let fear control him. He inspires people not because he's perfect, but because his determination is endless. No matter how strong he becomes, he still trains, still smiles, still believes tomorrow is another chance to improve. And maybe that's the most heroic thing of all. Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is fiction's greatest representation of self-sacrifice. Before becoming the legendary leader of the Autobots, he was Orion Pax, an ordinary Cybertronian who believed that knowledge and compassion could change the world. But Cybertron was falling apart. Corruption spread throughout the planet, and his closest friend Megatron slowly transformed from a revolutionary into a tyrant willing to sacrifice anyone for power. Orion refused to follow that path, because to him, strength was never about domination. It was about protecting others. After being chosen by the Matrix of Leadership, Orion Pax became Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. And from that moment onward, his life stopped belonging to him. For millions of years, he fought a war he never wanted. He lost friends, lost his home, and watched entire worlds burn. Yet despite all the suffering, Optimus never abandoned his ideals. He treats humans with kindness even though they are weaker than him. He offers mercy to enemies who would never show him the same. And time after time, he is willing to give up his own life if it means others can live. That's what makes Optimus Prime a hero. Not his strength, not the Matrix, not the fact that he can transform into a truck. It's the fact that every decision he makes is for someone else's future. Optimus Prime teaches us that true leaders don't ask others to make sacrifices they wouldn't make themselves. They stand at the front, and if necessary, they die so others can live.